I'ma just wait for people to come. They know when I go live though. Saturday is my day, but I got 2 moderators that go live on Saturday too. You pick the day that I go.
Yeah.
So your views are gonna be down. Now I ain't gonna lie, when Josh was on the show, I got a couple of hundred people in the chat at one time, so that was good.
Oh yeah. That's all. I like how when you've been doing your shows lately that you're getting the thumbs up and people's is it the thumbs up that they give you or whatever on there and yeah.
Hey David F, what's up, my friend? Hey David F, if you part of my group, right? Go to the group and post that we live now, and I got an eyewitness. If you part of the group, go post in the group and let them know that we live now. Got a good one tonight. What's up, y'all? We got a good one tonight. Hit that thumbs up. We got a good one tonight. Just post on the page that we live. Come on, y'all, don't be scared. Hit the like button. I see who in the chat already. Jump on board. Don't be shy. I know some people don't want me to know who they is, but we family. Wait a minute. Yeah, Lee.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What's up, Richard? Hey, Richard, I need you to do me a favor. Post in the group and let them know we live. I got an eyewitness, though. We got a good one tonight. We're going to talk all cryptids. UFO, paranormal, we're going to cover the whole base. So see if you can go post in the group and post on the page and let them know we live. John Glenn, what it is, my friend. We got a good one tonight. Got a good eyewitness. How your request still pending? Are you a member yet? David? Nathan Allen, what's up? Yeah, I need people to post on the page and let them know we live now. We got a good one tonight. We're going to cover all cryptids, everything. Paranormal, we covering the whole board. Got a good eyewitness on tonight, yo. Y'all gonna love him. What's up, Chris? I need people to post on the page. Let them know we live. Posting y'all page and everything. Let them know we live over here. Don't forget to hit that like button, y'all. We a family here. If don't know moderators show up, then we good. And this person got a lot of knowledge. Hey, Diana. We got a good one tonight. See, the thing is, though, I got 2 moderators that go live on Saturdays, too. So, they already knew I go live on Saturday, but they go Facebook Live. I go YouTube. Diana, if you part of the group, post on the page and let them know we live now. Got a good eyewitness coming on. And he bringing it all. We talking all cryptids. Larry, what's up, my friend? Diane, I know, but you still part of the group. Yeah, post in the group, man. Let them know, man. We can go live. We got a good one tonight. We covering all cryptids, paranormal. We gonna tell you things that he went through and everything, man. We gonna chop it up. Okay. All right, Diana. Anybody part of the Doug Pack, man, post in the group and let them know we live now. You been real busy, Lee?
Yeah, I've been working a whole lot of at the hospital, and
Al
it
Santiago.
seems like everybody's.
We got Al in here, Lee.
Al Santoriga there.
Yeah, he here. Hey Al,
Awesome.
we got Lee coming on tonight, boy. He got some good ones. We covering all cryptids, paranormal, man. And don't forget, after he finish, y'all got any questions? Put them all in caps. Wait till he finish though, and then put them all in caps. Questions, but he here tonight. We covering everything.
Oh yeah.
Thanks, Marquetta. That's what's up. Thank you so much. I know you're gonna handle things now. You the only one here. I know you're gonna handle things. Cause you know Tom and Carlito go live tonight. You know what? Let me know if y'all ready. If y'all ready, we're gonna do this now. We can start it now. Put a 1 up if y'all ready. Put a 1 up if y'all ready. Cause we ain't gonna keep him waiting. We're gonna let him do what he do. Lee.
Yes, sir.
Man, introduce yourself, man, and
Yes,
man,
sir.
let's get into these cryptids.
Hey, it's Ghost Lee. Everybody knows me. No. How's everybody doing? It's been a long time, and I'm squeezing in a show with Marvin here. I've been working a lot, and I've got a little bit of time here, and I'm looking forward to talking about some cryptids and an interview that I got with some people from Colombia. You guys are going to like it.
Wow.
And some experiences that they have in Colombia with cryptids. Do you want me to just start telling the story about the cryptids down in Colombia?
Start from there, and then we can go on.
All right, my neighbor, his wife is from Colombia, and she's got family that had never been to America before, and they got a daughter that lives in New York, so they came up here and they saw our neighbor, and they had some stories that they wanted to tell me when they found out about the cryptids that we were interested in, and they came over to our house, and we had to. There was a little cultural barrier there with language, but we was able to use a Google Translator, and my neighbor, the guy's sister, was able to translate between English and Spanish. And the first story that the guy told was Alba and her brother, which was the guy that came. They have another brother. And, they're Spanish, so they have like the dark hair and dark complected skin. But this third brother that they had, he had lighter skin, and he had like, I think they said green eyes. And I think he had blonde hair too. And there's this creature down in South America called a duende. And I think I'm pronouncing it right. Your Spanish, 3 years old. The brother, he came up missing. And these duende, what they're known for is they described them as little people, what we would think of as like a little gnome type of a creature. And they will come and they will take children that are basically, they said children that are beautiful or different, like have different attributes, say like green eyes or blonde hair or whatever. And I guess when he came up missing, they sent search parties out looking for him and trying to find him. And a guy just happened to be walking by the jungle, down a jungle road, and he heard him crying in the woods. And he went into the woods, and the little boy was sitting in the woods, or the jungle, I should say, because it's jungle there. He was sitting in the jungle, and he had food in a circle all the way around him, which was I guess the classic sign of the duende. Like the duende had captured him and took him into the jungle, and then he like put food around him for some reason. But they got their brother back, luckily. And I had never heard of a duende, but they were adamant. They said that happened and it was real. I don't know if they actually saw it or if the brother explained to them what it was. They didn't really elaborate on that, but they were adamant that the duende had got him, captured him, and took him into the jungle.
And you know what, Lee?
So have you ever heard of that, Marvin?
I've heard of it. We got a cryptid in Maryland, which we call the Doug Man, the Duego. So when you said that, Duego. When you said that, it made me think of the Maryland Doug Man, but they gave the name to it because little girl was staying with her grandmother in Frederick, Maryland, and back then, you know, she still was using the outhouse. So you go use the outhouse. She's sitting in there. So she started hearing these growls, and you know, she didn't even get to use the bathroom. She opened the door and she peeked out. Growls again. She walked out and she said, now her grandmother had like kerosene lights going all the way down so you could see how to get to the outhouse. She turns around and see this creature standing over top of the outhouse. That's how big it was. And you know, she started to back up. The creature came around and it stood and it growled at it. It was a low growl, she said. Now, I mean, I did the interview and everything, and I took her story and everything, and then it's called a Duego, and it's been a lot of sightings up there. It's been sightings up there with the hyena type. A lady was trying to get me to come down on her property and investigate. I tried to get my team to go with me, but they didn't want to go, and she was mad and all that. So I'm going to go back up there next week. So hopefully I can get to go down there and check out her area. She got a lot of paranormal stuff down there. But enough about that, Lee. Keep on doing what you do.
All right. Another tale that they was telling was they had a family farm, I take it, in Colombia, and this turkey shows up on their property, and you know, they're real superstitious down there, and they thought that this turkey was could be a witch or like a shapeshifter type thing. So they put this turkey, I guess he said they put this turkey in like a cage, but he said jail, like a jail cell type thing is what he said. And he said the next morning they went in to check on this thing, and it had turned into a naked woman in the cage. So it was a witch that had shapeshifted that they had captured.
Wow.
And he said it was true. I was like, are you sure somebody didn't try to put, a woman in there or switch somebody out? And they was like, both of them, him and his wife, were like, no, it's true. It's true. But it turned into a woman. There was another story that they told about some guys that were building a house, like out in the jungle. And this, there's some kind of a creature out there, and what they described it as, they said it has, it leaves one footprint. This creature will leave one footprint behind. And they described it as the foot being on backwards on this creature, which was kind of odd. And that's kind of, while we talk about the Wendigo, their feet supposed to be on backwards too, I take it. And he said that there was three of them, and two of the guys told the other guy that, you don't talk loud, or you don't whistle, or you don't do anything like that, because these creatures are around and they'll come to that and they'll attack you. Well, this guy was like making fun of them all day, so he was like being loud and he was whistling, he was doing all this different stuff. And it come around evening time after they quit working, and three guys are sitting around the campfire, and this one got up. They thought to go to bed or whatever, and he didn't come back to the fire. And the one guy was walking, and he could hear walking around over by where they had been working all day, and he could hear dripping, like something dripping down from the ceiling. So they lit up like a lantern or something, and he said that there was blood dripping from the rafters, and they shined it up into the rafters, and this thing had the guy up in the rafters and was devouring him, basically eating on him. And they left and they evacuated the area and got out of there, and then they came back with some authorities, and they couldn't find the guy. So I thought that was a kind of an interesting story that he told, and I can't remember the name. There was two other cryptids that she talked about that, or his wife and him talked about that. I forget the names of them. I should have wrote them down. I'm sorry, but that was one of them. And then there was the last one that they talked about was his wife said when they would go to the cemetery, there were these creatures that would come around the cemetery, and they would sounded like it was far away, and I guess they saw them. They saw these creatures in the cemetery, and they threw themselves on the ground and they extend their arms out in the shape of a cross, and these things went away. But she was scared to death telling that story. She saw that. I could see the terror on her face when she was telling the story.
Wow.
I wish I remembered the name of it. I'm sorry, guys, but it was almost similar to the Duende. The Duende name, not the not the creature description of the creature or whatever. So
wow.
that was my kind of interview with those people. That was really interesting.
And you know what though, like I said though, that the Waco Lee, you know what I mean, that's been in Maryland for a lot of years. The Goat Man, we got a place in there in Maryland called Goat Man Bridge, where people have seen this Goat Man. That let me ask you this though, Lee. What is your take on the Goat Man? Do you think it's demonic? Because a guy in Kentucky said he seen one all black with black eyes.
Well, it could be demonic. It could be something that come out of a portal. I know the guy that what's his name? Greg Yost interviewed. They called him the Champ. Did you see that interview, Marvin?
Yeah, you know, B interviewed him last night. Have you seen that interview? B interviewed him last night, and he talked about, you know, all that how spiritual, how Bigfoot is spiritual and things like that. It's just
that Goat Man. I think there's something to the Goat Man. I really do. And there's something about the Goat Man that it always hangs around bridges.
And you know what? You're absolutely right, Lee.
Other than, it's almost like this thing is the gatekeeper of the bridge. You know what I mean? It's almost like the energy that a bridge accumulates creates a portal or something. There may be like some kind of portal activity around bridges where this thing comes in and out of. But I tell you, that one, the Goat Man, the Goat Man's pretty disturbing, I think.
It is, and you know what?
I kind of get a sense of evil from it.
And you know what, though? I done had eyewitness that ran into it and everything, and I think it because he said that this Goat Man down in Kentucky walks around with a wielding axe. So they got to be intelligent
with an axe
if they can make and create an axe. I
hadn't heard the story of the one with an axe before.
Yeah, he said this one ran that down there and walks with an axe. So I'm not saying that they don't have the capability of doing these things, because they probably do. Wow. Now, one more question I want to ask you, Lee. What do you think about this rake? Now, an eyewitness sent me a picture of a rake coming out the ground, and she sent me a rake in her backyard. Now, these things just look demonic, period. I don't never want to see one of them.
Yeah. I don't think I want to see one either, especially in the woods. There's a video of one coming up a hill, it looks like, in the video. It's supposed to be one. And whatever that thing was, man, it can move fast. Did you see that footage?
That was chasing the boy. The boy was filming him. Yeah, I seen that. That.
Yes. I tell you, man, if something like that was on you in the woods, you'd never get away from it. It just gets you in a second.
I'm gonna tell you something, Lee. I took my grandkids.
It would just take you out.
Yeah, it would. I took my grandkids out in a spot where I see these creatures at. So my grandson started mimicking. Now, he didn't know nothing about these creatures. He didn't know how they move, or he held his hands down in front of him. like these dog creatures do. And he started to hop. I said, "What you doing?" He said, "I'm doing what they doing." He started walking on his tippy toes, like toe pads.
He was mimicking.
He mimicked everything they did, and then he said as they hopped, they dropped down to all fours. And he did the exact same thing.
You know, I believe, Marvin, that kids can see things that we can't see. They are in tune more with things that we can see, or that we can't see, if that makes sense. It's like them having imaginary friends. You know, I sometimes I believe that little kids are really seeing those things.
Yeah.
Imaginary friends. I think they're seeing spirits sometimes, but they can see. It's like little kids can see in a dimension that we can't see in. And it totally makes sense if they could see a dog man.
And you
especially if they're cloaked or in this, a spirit form.
You're absolutely right, because one night I did my live out back there, and we had just left the spot, and my granddaughter was like, "Grandpa, it's two behind us." Now all I could see is some, black. I could see two black figures, but it's like I can't pitch them out. But my granddaughter, she can see these things: snout, nose, ears, and all that. She said, "Grandpa, they coming up here. Where we at?" So I say, "Walk behind me, and I'm gonna walk in front. So if anything happened, y'all can at least get away." And because I'm not gonna let them have them grandkids, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna take the fall first. You know what I'm saying? Just share the video and show them what the fuck happened.
Oh yeah.
And anything though, these things came out this brush silent. We didn't hear nothing. And if it wasn't for my granddaughter turning around and looking, them things probably would have got all of us. If that was their intent. Not saying that was their intent, because my granddaughter was looking and she turned around real fast. She said, "Grandpa," I say, "What?" She said, "It's showing me his face." I say, "Take a picture of it." She started clicking her camera. And Lee, man, she got a clear picture of these things. Snout, ears, and everything. I shot, and this in broad daylight.
Oh wow. Wow. I'd like to see that sometime, Marvin. That'd be awesome. That is awesome.
Well, ain't no problem though. I definitely show it to you, and it's just amazing though, Lee, how they show themselves to my grandkids.
Yeah.
Every time we go out there, they see them. Like they wait for them to come there. And I got some good prints too.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I got some 3-toed tracks.
That is awesome.
I got 3-toed tracks with claws, and you know what I mean? I don't know if they say that's the werewolf type. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Marvin.
Go ahead.
Marvin, I heard you saying on one of the shows that you guys were discussing that you didn't know if maybe they were bad or good or whatever, but and you said something about like if they wanted to attack you and they wanted to get you, they would get you. You'd never make it anywhere to tell the tale.
Right.
You'd never make it back home to tell the tale as big as they are.
Right, you absolutely right.
I think you're onto something there. There's more to them than what we know, because we've heard other people say that they we need them as much as they need us, and vice versa.
I
think that was on.
Yeah. Whether they interdimensional, or they can transfer through portals and all that, then you know what I mean. That's Some people say they see portals open up and they see these creatures go out. Now I got pictures of a spaceship. I shared it on the show the other day, and you can see the entities inside the craft. And the lady caught this on her property.
Wow.
You can see. I'm gonna send it to you though. You can see them inside the craft. It's amazing.
There's would be my mom's mother-in-law, because she got remarried, and they lived on a farm up around Albany, Indiana, and this craft came in over their farm, and it hovered over their barn, and it tilted in a way she could look through the windows at them. They could see her out the window, and they waved at her out the window, and she said it was absolutely real, that it happened, and that there were people on board that thing. Did she describe him as human looking. She described him as human looking.
Wow.
And it slowly moved away and then took off.
Now.
And there was other people in the area that had seen it with her. And then let me see. I got a text 3 days ago from somebody that I work with, and they took a picture of a UFO. And you know, the pictures that I have of the one that I got here at the house is it's a white disc looking craft. And this person that sent me the email, video, or text, it's a white disc craft, just similar to what I took, but it looks more like egg shaped. It's more of an egg shape.
Yeah,
and
like
she took the picture where my wife and a coworker of my wife saw the discs. They also saw them. So
wow,
that wasn't too long ago.
And that's crazy though, because
but there's this.
Go ahead.
The area where they're seeing these is also known as as kind of like a paranormal hotspot. And a guy that I used to work with, he was an old Vietnam vet, and he had a stepdaughter, and they would travel that road all the time. And he claimed that she saw a Mothman, like a Mothman type creature there, and then he had seen something that he thought was a Bigfoot down in that area. And then one night I was traveling down that same road, and it scanned the cornfield. And when it scanned the cornfield, there was something standing in the cornfield that was at least 7 to 8 feet tall, and I thought it looked like it had a black cloak on it, like a Grim Reaper looking type thing. And it was around Halloween. And I thought, well, why would somebody put a black Reaper, Grim Reaper looking thing in the cornfield just back out of, right. I don't know, say maybe 100 yards back in the field. And I went by there the next day, was looking for it, thinking I'd see it, and there wasn't anything there. So whatever I saw was either passing through, and it just stopped and froze and was just standing there. And I actually did see that, whatever that thing was, but right. It was in the same area. But there's UFO activity there. We're right. In between, I don't know if you've ever heard of there's a lady named Debbie Cobby, no. And she's up around Plainfield. She lived up around Noblesville or Kokomo, one of the two. And we're between that, and then we're between, south of us is a place called Lucky Point, Indiana. And people can look that up on like do a Google search or whatever, Lucky Point, and there's been all kinds of UFO sightings and Bigfoot sightings, and there's a power line that runs through there, and a police officer saw a black triangular craft hovering over the power lines, and then it slowly took off and went away or whatever. But there's all kinds of different things that go on here. I know it sounds like it's a hot spot, and it's hot spot every once in a while. But there's some areas here where there's some real high strangeness that goes on here. And I think it's associated with the coal mines and the minerals that's around here, because we have a lot of coal mines, or they call them stripper pits, is what they call them, where they strip mine. They use these big buckets and they strip the coal out of the ground. And if you was coming to a planet looking for resources, you'd be checking areas out that was high in coal or whatever kind of minerals was in the ground.
Right. Now, since you said that though, let me remind I did an eyewitness that I had an eyewitness that said about these cornfields, and he said that he's saying this portal will open up and this Doug man come out. Then another portal open up and this Doug man come out. Now, mind you, the corn stalks was 9 feet. He said these things stood 4 feet above those cornfields. And there was 2 of them.
Yeah, we're surrounded by cornfields here.
Oh yeah, I know. And
right now, the corn here is at least 7 feet tall. And if it was standing 2 feet above that, man, that'd be about 9 feet. And here's something that's I know people's probably not going to believe this or not, but he was waiting for something nice to go by, because we that's how we hunt around here. Is we hunt around on the edges of the cornfield, because the deer are a creature of edge. And he was looking out in the cornfield, and he just happened to catch it just at the right moment. This buck stood up on its back 2 legs and looked up over the corn and was looking right at him to see where he was at in that tree stand. That deer could smell him and couldn't find him because he wasn't on the ground, but that deer stood up on his back legs and looked over the corn and looked right at him in his tree stand.
Wow. I want to ask you this, Lee.
That really happened.
What is your take on the LBL? Because we done heard three different versions, you know what I mean? And they didn't find the cryptid and kill it. They found it and killed it. And now one guy said he was hiding under the trailer when all this happened.
You talking about the family that was killed, where the little girl was pulled up the tree?
Yeah, LBL.
And is that the one? Well, I got to go down to the LBL, and I hadn't heard that story at the time that we had went down there, but it has a weird vibe to it. It has a weird feeling to it. I like nature. I like hunting and fishing and this and that, but that just has a weird vibe about it. And I don't know, it's almost like whoever's in charge around there, it's like they know you're coming before you get there, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, you absolutely right.
I knew a guy that used to deer hunt down there, because you can go down in there and you can hunt deer or other things. I take it they got elk down there now, but he told me that they had different animals in there. They have I think they call them silk deer or something like that, but they got like different spots on them. But he said there's all kinds of animals in there that you wouldn't normally see in other places, because they've brought them in there and put them in there, But he never said that he had seen any cryptids or anything like that. We just talked hunting and fishing about the place. But I can tell you that it would be a prime area for them to release something like that, or for something to live in there, because it's pretty wild and woolly back down in there.
You're absolutely right. Now, we went to Kentucky.
I think they're in there. Actually, I think they're there.
We went to Kentucky last year, me and my team. Now, we went on some property that we didn't know that it was owned, and we wound up getting shot at. But we did, hear activity and all that. Motherfuckers running, things running through the tree line and all that. But we wind up leaving, you know what I mean? Because I didn't know that so many people down there own property. It's a lot. Yeah. It's a lot of people down there that own property.
I'm one.
Let me ask you this, Lee. What is your take on the missing 411? What do you think is taking these people? Now, I said that I'm not going to blame it on cryptids because we don't have no evidence. I don't see no video of this Doug man snatching a kid or Bigfoot. We don't have the proof. So I'm not going to say that the cryptids taking them. Could they be taking them? They could be. But we don't. But what is your take on it?
What do we know, Marvin, that takes people? What have we heard? We know that there's something out there that takes people.
Aliens.
Aliens. It's aliens. And there's mountain ranges there, right? They have, they could be in underground facilities. It seems like, like Area 51's in the desert, but there are mountains there. There's mountains. It's surrounded by mountains. And we know there's aliens there, supposedly being held. It's like every place that has mountains, they see UFOs all the time, and maybe people are getting back in there and they're getting close to the lair, or getting close to the entrances to their, like their bases or whatever, because they're going to be in places where we're not going to be readily available to access, to get to. And that's kind of my theory on it.
Yeah,
I don't know where I heard this story at, but I heard a story where this guy was he went back in like a national forest somewhere, and he come upon like the entrance to one of their bases, I guess, and he saw this eyewitness guy. He saw aliens eating humans. If that makes it, if you have you ever heard that story?
I can believe that. You know what I mean? And I have heard a story. And David Paulides, he put this out there. He said, mother, son, and daughter was walking in one of these national forests. I ain't gonna say which one, but you can go back and find out. And he said that she was walking, she dropped her phone, picked it up, and when she looked up, her son was gone. She runs up there, and they was right there, like 10 feet away. And she said, "Where's your brother at?" She said, "The hairy man took him." So
the hairy man took him.
She said the hairy man took him.
Well, we do know that Indians talk about, you know, the Bigfoot taking
the women and children,
and women and children. But but to say that they're killing them or eating them, I mean, we don't know that.
No, we don't.
They could be using them for breeding purposes, and I know that sounds harsh to say, but
you're right.
If you're going to try to keep your population up, you're going to have, you're going to have something like that to, and that gives, you heard the story about the guy in Canada that was camping, and a Bigfoot picked him up and threw him over his shoulder in his
dragged him
bag.
And dragged him in. He was giving him tobacco and all that, yeah.
Yes. Well, what were they doing? I mean, what were they? They didn't act like they were going to eat him. They just was like curious.
Right. Was they going to let him breed? Was they going to let him breed with the daughter? Because it was a son, a daughter, a mother, and a father.
Yeah.
So was they gonna let him breed with the daughter?
Right. And yeah, really. Another thing is, of the story it was talked about, while they were preoccupied or whatever, he slipped away and got away. I don't know how he would get away from something like that, because if they wanted to keep him, they would have went after him and tracked him down and got him, because I'm sure that their tracking skills and everything else is better than ours, and they would know the woods a lot better than we would.
And see, that's what
snatch you. So if they
right, if they want to snatch somebody, like you said, Lee, they can do it.
That's right. I kind of have an idea, a doctor that I know told me that they live down around the Bedford, Indiana. And down around Bedford, in that area, we've got what's called Crane Naval Base. And it's fenced-in area, and I forget how many acres it is. It's huge. But they made stuff in there like the laser designator. They designed the laser designators, like the things they point at buildings, and then it directs the munitions to. But anyway, she said when she worked down there that her patients would come and talk to her about working in the base, and they would tell her they would see what they called the wood ape all the time, which was their way of explaining a Bigfoot. And but they would always see it in the base. It would be behind the fence in the base, like the wooded area. And I kind of have this feeling that Navy SEALs, how Navy SEALs almost have a supernatural ability to sneak in places and sneak out. I kind of think they train. That's part of their training. They either have to track those things down, or they have to go live amongst them and learn how to be as stealthy as they are. I know that sounds stupid to say that, but if the military knows a lot about these cryptids, because they protect them. They're the first ones on the scene, and why wouldn't they use something like that was elite at camouflage and stealth and everything else? Why wouldn't they, have those guys go in there and watch them and try to learn their attributes, how to crawl around and sneak and hide and, master your terrain? They would. If that was a reality and they had those things, they would.
Now, Lee, they trying to create them as super soldiers.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that they're doing that.
And it's crazy, though, because
I've heard that.
This is what I want to find out. What is their purpose here? Why are they here? Are they guardians of the woods? These things that we don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think that they really want to mingle with humans.
No, I mean, they see how we are. They know what we are.
They know we destroy
they see how mean
everything.
and destructive we are.
They know we destroy everything.
You know, Marvin, it's like reverse. It's like we're the monsters. You know what I mean? The humans are the monsters, the real monsters.
You're right, and you're absolutely right, though. And it's at the end of the day, it's a shame, though. You know, and this is the thing that get me, though. You got researchers out here that claim that this creature is this and this creature is that. Until you can prove and bring the evidence forth towards me, where I can look at it and say that this what these creatures is, then that's when I'm gonna go along with you. We can all say that they, you know, from another dimension, and that they could do this. They go through portals and all that. Bring the proof to the table. Show the people this proof. If you got this proof, then share it with us.
Hey. I'm with you, Marvin. It's like the conspiracy people, you know, they say all this stuff and then they don't ever show you any proof. I'm tired of not showing you any proof. If I've got something like the photographs or the castings of the footprints that I've found and stuff, I know what I've seen.
I know that you got a juvenile footprint. You got a juvenile footprint. One of the best ones out there.
Yes.
And I got an eyewitness. I got an eyewitness. I got an eyewitness lady with a Men in Black showed up at her house, and she filmed them from out her window in the house because they knew she had a lot of paranormal activity around her property. So I'm like, these people know. They know. When you start speaking the truth.
Why and yes, and what's up with the Men in Black showing up around all this paranormal activity?
Right.
If the government didn't already know that it was going on, you know what I mean?
Right.
We can get off that subject, but here's what we do know: there are paranormal things that happen out there. There's people that have seen it. There's people that haven't seen it, and once you see it, you can't unsee it, and it's a reality. It's like I want to know what these things are. It's almost like when you see it and nobody else has seen it, it's almost like you're a victim, if that makes sense. It's like
you're right.
You've seen something that nobody else has seen, and why did you see it? You know, what kind of connection do you have to it? It's almost like you have a connection to it.
And you're right, Lee, because
if that makes sense.
You're right, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. So if I tell a person I'm riding down a country road and I see a dug man in the field, and then it stands up and then it walks in the tree line, it's up to them to believe me or not. I'm not gonna make a person believe me when I say something. Do your own research. If you don't believe in these creatures, do your own research. Don't take my word for it. Don't take my word for it. If you want to call me a liar or whatever, do your own research. Background and check and see what these things, because we don't know. Now, Melba Ketchum, they fucked her career up. They messed her career up, Melba Ketchum, because she got DNA from this creature, the one that got hit in Ohio.
Yes, they did.
And she found out it was human.
Yep.
Part human. So they messed her career up. I'd have talked to her and I tried to get on, come on the show.
You got something that...
Go ahead.
When you have the proof or that you can say, yeah, I absolutely see, they're going to ruin your life.
You know what, though?
You know what?
You know what,
they're going to try to ruin your life.
It will fuck up evolution. And scientists don't want to be wrong. So if we bring them proof, say, take the DNA on this, and they say, well, because they asked Melba, they said, what you found, a new species? And when they found out what it was, canine and human, they didn't want to deal with it. The government not going to release this. Oh, we know aliens out there. They can't hide that no more. That's why they put it forth. Okay, yeah, we know aliens out here. But when you say you got werewolves, Dugmen, Bigfoot rakes, and the goatmen, they not going to release that, Lee. They're not going to tell us that they out there because it's about money.
know, my grandfather told the story about he met supposedly an extraterrestrial from Venus, and they got to get on board. My grandfather swore to his deathbed he got to board a UFO craft, and they got to fly to Mars with these Venusians. They invited him to go anywhere he wanted, and he said he wanted to go to Mars. And when he got off onto the planet Mars, they said, we're going to show you that there are inhabitants that live here. And you know, they took him and showed him, and I asked him, I said, well, what did they look like? And he said, these creatures come up out of the ground, and they look like what we describe here on Earth as a Bigfoot. He said they were like 7 to 8 foot tall, covered in hair, but they had human-looking features.
I heard about that.
Yes.
But they said they was using Bigfoot to mine for different minerals and stuff like that. The aliens was using them to mine for minerals. Now,
there's
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I want to say right. I'm gonna wait after you. Go ahead.
There's some kind of an ancient story about this. I forget what the name of it was, but I want to say his name was Enkidu or something like that.
I heard
he was
of that.
a hairy man.
Yes, he was.
And he traveled to the center of the earth looking for. They were looking for something. But they had a journey. But anyway, that was like back in the days of the Greeks, or, you know, way back in the ancient times. But this thing had like a relationship with the humans. So that mean it was way back then too.
Right. I'm gonna tell you two situations. One, it deals with the Rothschilds. Now, she did an interview saying that she was from another dimension, but she was the Rothschild's child. She said when she was like 7 or 8 years old, she used to sit inside the Pentagon, along with aliens. And she said these aliens it was a certain race of aliens used to torture her over and over again. And another alien species said, well, why do you torture her? And they said, well, she's on a contract for life. We own her. Basically, that's what they were saying. So she was like, the other alien said was like, it's nothing I can do. He said, but I'm gonna tell you what I can do. And he said he touched her on her forehead and made her forget everything, all the torture and all that. Now, mind you, I had an eyewitness that I went down here in South Carolina inside of Kings Mountain, who was an abductee since she was 4 years old. That means they was taking her. So
wow.
She said that these things did things to her, man, that as she got older, that was, you know what I mean, just unheard of. So, I mean, you know, implanting her, putting chips in her. And she said one day she was laying in the bed, and she said about 9 foot tall Dugmans appeared at the bottom of her bed. She sent me pictures of these cryptids. I don't have them in his phone now, yo, but she sent me pictures of these 2 cryptids, man. And she was like, it was clear as day. And she said they tortured her ever since she was 4. It said that she's on a contract. So whenever they come to take her, it's no, you know what I mean, like, I don't want to go or none of that. You know, she gotta go. You know what I mean? They was like, we own you. And it's crazy though. Yeah. They implanted her with embryos and all that. And she gave birth to an offspring. She said I can share her story. I'm not going to give her name, but her fucking story is amazing. I never revealed it on my channel, but she gave me permission to do it. Because I want people to know what these things is doing to people.
Yeah, I think that's good, Marvin, that you protect their names and stuff. I want to protect people. I don't want them getting messed up like what is it, Melba Ketchum?
No, because they fucked her career up.
That's not our goal here.
She won't even do no shows no more. She won't do no shows no more because I tried to get her on mine.
I don't blame her. After they've ruined you like that.
Yeah.
When I was younger, they had they had UFO sightings up around where I used to live at in Muncie, and they had I did a little research the other day and found out that they had what was called a flap, like a UFO flap up there, where they had multiple eyewitnesses seeing these UFOs and this and that all the time. And I remember as a little kid, people standing outside and watching these lights, and they looked like Christmas lights, dancing in the sky. And my cousin, she told a story that she remembered one night. She said it was a dream that she had where a UFO landed behind her mom and dad's garage, and she said they took them all everybody out of the house, and they were loading them up on this craft. And she said my dad was there, and I was there, and my whole family was there. And when she said they put us on conveyor belts and put us up into the craft. And when she told that story, it was like I had a flashback, a memory, and I could see us on those conveyor belts going up into that craft.
Wow.
So I don't know if we had been abducted.
Right.
So, but I've seen a lot of UFO activity,
Now, Lee.
And me and my dad had a weird experience. Yes, go ahead.
Now, I just want to say this one thing, right?
Go ahead.
My mother was Cherokee Indian. And if you look at her, you would think that she was Caucasian, white. Now, my mother she only told us once.
Right.
She said, I'm going to tell y'all about these things that I used to see when I was a little girl. And she said that these creatures were so big, they towered over the house of their roof in North Carolina. And she said they used to follow her every day home from school, whether they was making sure she was all right. But she said every time she would stop, they would stop on all fours. She said, but they were so big that they couldn't have been an ordinary dog. She said, but once she got to her door, she would turn around, and these creatures would stand up on their back legs, and they would look at her and then walk up into the tree line. And my mother only told that story one time.
Wow.
And she never shared it again. I used to say, Mom, can you tell me about them things you say? And she was like, no, I'm not going to talk about it no more. Because my mother was Cherokee Indian. You know what I mean? And if you look at it, you be like, no, man, that's not your mother. That's not your mother. Yeah, that's my mother. You know what I mean? Because she looked at Caucasian.
Yeah. And, that's weird you said that, because my cousin and him would have Cherokee Indian in him. Because their dad was from down around Tennessee, and we know he had some Cherokee in him. So, and there again, there's a tie, a Native American tie. You've got it too, Marvin.
I do.
Native American blood in you too.
Because that day when I seen that cryptid, I'm like, because I'm looking at it, Lee, and I'm like, hold up. It was so black. I'm like, hold up, that's not no tree. Then I see the ears go up, boom. So it knew we was there. So I tell my cousin, I said, drive slow. She say, why? I say, just drive slow. She drives slow, and we look. I see the snout, the arms hanging down in front of him, because it was sitting down on his hocks. Just resting. But when this motherfucker stood up and walked in that tree line, this thing had to be about 8 or 9 feet tall. So it was watching some cows on the other side. And I'm like, you could see the muscle definition in it. And it's just crazy, because I done seen a lot of things. When I never shared this story. When I was a little kid, I used to fall off the bed every night. Why? I don't know. But after I fall off a bed, it's like these bright. All I could describe it as is a bright light. I'm talking about the brightest light that you could ever see. Used to take me up to the 3rd floor and set me up at the top. And once my father would come up to get me, the light would just vanish. Like, I used to talk to, how some people say you got imaginary friends? But I used to talk to them. And my mother used to try to creep up on me and be like, she'd be like, Marvin, who you talking to? I'd be like, nobody. She could never catch me talking to these, what I thought was living people. I didn't know they was no ghosts. I was a kid. But to me, they was real because I could see them and I'm talking to them.
They look real to you, didn't they?
Yes, they look real to me. My mother could never catch me. She was like, you talking to somebody, but I don't know what. Because she would come. I could hear her coming because I could hear the floor squeaking. And I would stop talking before she get in the room. And it's a lot of things I didn't share with my group that happened to me as I was a kid. And one day I might open up to all that because some people say, Marvin, you should write a book. You should do this. You should do that. It's fine and dandy though, you know what I mean? And one day I might do that if God allows me to. If I got enough time on this earth, then I will do that. Go ahead, Lee.
Marvin, you're with that Native American blood that you have, the Cherokee. You're close to the earth.
Yeah, because
that's something.
Yeah, it's amazing though because I'm gonna send you a picture of my mother, Lee, and when you look at it, you're gonna be like, and you look at me, you're like, it's not your mother. It can't be. Because, back in the day, blacks had to ride on the back, whites had to ride on the front. My mother could have rode on the front of the bus because that's how she looked. Beautiful woman. Beautiful woman. You know what I mean? So I'm going to share that picture to the group. And I love her to death. My mother went through a lot of stuff, man. She's seen a lot of things. And I don't know if the trait was passed down. Because one day I was laying on the couch one day, Lee. I don't know what this was. I was laying on the couch. And I was looking at the window. Because it was facing the window in the front room. And I see this black hand come out the floor with claws on it. And it's reaching for my face. But I can't say nothing. I'm silenced. It ain't let me say nothing. I'm trying to yell, but ain't nothing coming out. But I could see this clear as day, and I tell my mother, I say, Mom, once this shit happened, I say, Mom, this hand came out the floor. And knowing my mother, she Indian, and she deal with certain things like with roots and stuff like that, and certain things that they do. And it was just crazy though, yo. It was though.
Marvin, I had a similar experience with something like that, but what I saw was it was the head of a man that come through the wall when I was a little kid, and he had a long gray hair and a gray beard, and his head come through the wall, and he come right at my face, and I was so scared I closed my eyes so that I didn't, I wasn't looking at it. And I can still see that face to this day.
Wow.
And I was little. I was probably 6, 7 years old at the time, and I remember that face. And he looked ancient. I don't know what he was doing or why but he came through the corner of the wall. He came through the corner, come out of the corner, up about 3 feet, about 3 feet high, and his head just shot right out of the wall, at the corner of the room, and he come right at my face. And I was fully awake. I wasn't asleep or anything like that, but I don't know what that was.
Right, and Lee, I'm gonna share this story with you. I'm gonna share this story with you. I never shared this before a day in my life. We moved in this house, and I guess it's a lady that was supposed to die in this house before, whatever. And my father, now back then we had, you know how you use the coal to heat the house up? That's the kind of house we had, that we were able to put the coal in the furnace. So I went down there one day, and I see this lady standing by the furnace. I run up the steps and tell my father, I say, Dad, it's a lady down by the furnace. She say, it's okay, son. It was the lady that died in the house. So I used to go there. I got used to it, that when I go down there, I would see her look at me and walk by her first. Because what they did was, this lady was killed in the house that we was in. So I guess her spirit was still trapped there. I don't know. I had got so used to it and wasn't scared no more that I would go down there and I would speak to her. And she was staying there. I mean, Lee, it's like you looking at a person. Because I could see her in her dress and everything. You know what I mean? And one day she walked past the firm and she snapped her dress. And you could see like lint fly off of this. I'm not making this up. This is something I never shared before to anybody, none of my eyewitness, none of my subscribers, none of that. I'm telling you, I went through some stuff, but I just don't talk about it. I went through some stuff, but I just don't talk about it.
Well, we lived in a time when you couldn't talk about it because people make fun of you all the time. You know, you remember those days, don't you, Marvin? When you couldn't say nothing to nobody, they just
at all.
They say, "Oh, he's a crazy ass," or you're just dreaming. Or
let me ask you this, Lee. One day I was walking down the street. I see a lady with all black on, so I'm thinking she just came from a funeral. But she keep watching me. She was walking up. She was walking up and I was walking down. But then she turned around and walked down the same way I was walking. So she's staring at me. So I'm like, why is this lady looking at me? When she take off her veil, she don't have no eyes. And I'm looking at this lady. I don't know what it was or nothing, but she didn't have no eyes, Lee. None. I got so much stuff that I can share out there and put out there, but I don't want a person to think that, oh man, he crazy, he ain't see this, he ain't see that. Man, I seen a lot of stuff, and I went through a lot of things, man. I just don't share it because I don't want a person to say, oh, he lying. Go ahead.
I'll tell you something that happened to me. Where I work at, I have to take, I might as well just say it, fetal demises down to the morgue or down to the pathology. And I was getting on the elevator. Again, I hit the button for the elevator to go downstairs, and the nurse was at the nurse's station, and they was wanting me to run. They wanted me to run some labs or something, or pick something up in lab, I think. And the door to the elevator opened up, and as the door turned the elevator opened up, the nurse said something to me, so I went to turn around, but before I turned around, a woman walked behind me and got on the elevator, and so I turned and said what I needed to say to the nurse at the nurse's station, and I went to get back on the elevator, and the elevator doors were closing, and as I stepped onto the elevator, I stuck my arm through the doors, and it opened back up, and I started to say, "I'm sorry for stopping you, from going on the elevator." And I got on the elevator, and there was nobody on that elevator. And I stopped it, opened the door back up, and I said, "Hey," I yelled at the nurse, and I said, "Hey, didn't you just see an old woman get on the elevator?" And she said, "Yeah." She said, "I thought I did." And I said, "There is nobody on here."
And
I got out, and I went around the corner looking, and couldn't find anybody on the elevator.
I believe you, Lee. Because,
and then that same.
Go ahead, finish.
So the same hallway would go take you down towards the boss's office, and the boss wanted me to do something for her one day, and so we were walking down towards her office, and we get down to the last door on the last patient door on the right hand side before you go through the double doors, and as we walked through the double doors, my boss said, "Hey," she said, "Wait a minute," she said, "I think that lady needed help back there." And so she turned around and went back to the door where this woman was looking out the door. Now, I didn't see the woman, but she did. She saw her open the door and look out. And my boss turned around and went and opened the door to go back in that room. And she opened the door up, and there were so many baby cribs in that room, a person couldn't have walked in that room. And there wasn't nobody in that room at all whatsoever. They were using it as storage. It was like so full you could get the door open, but that was it. You couldn't walk in, or you'd have to climb over stuff to get in there.
I believe you, Lee, because like I said, man, I done seen so many things, but I don't share it on the channel. And so many things that happened to me throughout my life, you know what I mean? It's great. Now, when I was born, when I was born now, this is a true story. I don't have no reason to lie. I'm not gaining nothing from it. When I was born, I had something, I don't know, just some kind of cluck. I kept doing it, you know, in my throat. And my mother took me to the hospital. They was like, they ran all type of tests, and they kept saying, it's nothing we can do. We don't know what it is. Now, my mother take me back home. Now, it was a stranger that knocked at the door, and my mother let this stranger in. And she said, I'm here to heal your son. So my mother, you know, being Cherokee Indian, you know, I mean, she know about a lot of that stuff, you know. She let him do what he had to do. And my mother said, whatever I had in my throat that was causing me to feel the way I did, she could feel it leave my throat and hit the bottom of her stomach. What it was, I don't know, but I shouldn't be alive today. I shouldn't be alive today, Lee.
Well, I think you got guardian angels to watch over you, Marvin.
You know what I think I do too, because I think I done died like 30 times. And I'm not saying it as a joke, because I mean, I know, because the last time I should have been dead. You know what I mean? And like I said, I don't know if you heard it, Lee. You know what I mean? I put my record out there as far as me being a heroin user and all that, and I had got hold of something that was too strong, and I took it, and I OD'd off of it. I was dead. So they had to shoot me 4 times with Narcan to bring me back. And
Narcan? Yeah.
And I sat back and I'm like, what do you want? Do you want to keep using, or do you want a better life? I found out I was good in telling these encounters. So I'm like, man, I want a better life. I want a better life. I don't want to die like this. I don't want my kids to be like, man, he died using drugs. My grandkids died, he using drugs. So I think that's why a lot of podcasts out there intimidated about me, because I changed the whole fucking narrative. I changed it. I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say this, and I believe it's the truth. I don't think it's nobody that's gonna come after me to tell encounter like I do. And I'm gonna stick to my guns.
No.
Even Dark Waters even said that. He said, Josh, it's a guy that's gonna come in, he can switch the whole narrative on it. And Josh was like, you ain't lying. He switched the whole narrative up. All right, because you're not gonna talk like I talk. And when I'm gone, I want my grandkids to be like, my grandpa really told the encounter. You know what I mean? So I want them to say that, be like, you know what I mean? Make a video of me. Make a video of me.
I'd like. Well, you know what, Marvin? I'd like to say I'm grateful for Marvin Allen. I'm grateful that Marvin Allen's alive and with us, and I'm grateful that you're the storyteller that you are. And I think you're pretty awesome, man.
Man, you know what? You know what, Lee? I appreciate that, man. And I think people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime.
And you know, you may not see it at the time, but you can always look back and see why you were supposed to be where you were at. You know it?
And I know that man could have took me away from here way before my time. But he like, okay, Marvin, I got a purpose for you. Follow your calling. And I found out I was good in telling these encounters, though. You know,
you have a talent for it, Marvin.
So
you're very talented.
Whether it's the day or tomorrow, when my Lord call on me, the least thing I can say is that I made a difference in my life. I stopped using drugs, and I stuck with something that meant a whole lot to me, and that's telling encounters. And it means a whole lot to me, Lee. Marvin. It means a lot to me, Lee, and I'm glad that you came into my life, because people come into your life for a reason. They come into your life for a reason, where people won't believe it or not. They come in your life for a reason. I'm glad that I met you. and that you shared so many amazing stories on my channel. Vic, Chris Cyrus, Josh Turner. I'm glad that everybody came in my life for a reason. It's no need to bicker with each other because we all trying to reach a certain goal. What the fuck is these cryptids? That's what we trying to find out. So we need to put our pettiness aside and try to find out what they really is. You know, go ahead, Lee.
I think it's just I think it's a great thing that you're doing, Marvin. I think that was very very good of you to come forward the other day and you know, say your apologies and everything. And you know, I don't have a dog in the fight, but what I see is, you know, if we stay divided, if everybody stays divided on this, we'll never reach the answers that we're looking for.
You absolutely.
But if we try to listen to one another and try to do, you know, try to come up with the right answer, somebody's going to put something together one of these days, and it's just going to rock
it's gonna
the
blow.
world.
It's gonna blow. It's gonna blow it out the water. It's gonna blow it out the water, and they ain't got no choice but to say, okay, these things do exist. But the government always want to try to intimidate people.
From the truth. Once the truth is out there, they can't put that genie back in the bottle.
No, and the government always want to try to cover the truth.
Yeah.
No, they don't exist. There ain't no such thing as no dog man, no werewolf. We got proof. We got evidence. We got pictures.
Yeah.
So how can you say that's not true?
Yeah, we've seen them.
Right. And
That's right.
and that's what I'm saying though. And like I said though, Lee, when I was explaining my story on you know, the apology thing, and I let people know I've been using drugs over 40 something years. I gave these people 26 years in the penal system. I did my time. I paid my price. Let me back into society and let me do what I'm good at. And that's telling encounters. I never knew I was good at this, Lee, until I went on Vic's show and I did it. And he called me the next week. He was like, Marvin, they love you. They want you back. So I did that. I found out I was good at it. Let me do what I do. Don't penalize me on my past, because it's a lot that y'all don't know that I'm going to take to my grave with me, because I'm not proud of some of the things that I did. And I got to answer to my maker for that. Whether he forgive me or not, so be it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I've been doing what's right. Haven't been using, telling encounters.
That's great.
And sharing everything.
And you know, Marvin, people that's not been through an addiction like that, they have no idea of how hard it is.
They don't want to understand it.
People to, you know, kick the habit. Well, it's like trying to tell somebody, you know, you shouldn't be smoking because, you know, that's bad for you. You know, you can no more tell somebody to quit smoking than you can to tell yourself to quit eating sugar, you know, because we all eat sugar.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? We're all addicted to sugar.
Right. And I've been using since I was 40.
It's a hard thing, man.
I've been using since I was, about 40 years.
People that's addicted all the time. And
go ahead, Lee.
Yeah.
I've been using since I was 40.
You know, I work in a place where I see it all the time. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, go ahead, Lee.
I'm proud of you, Marvin. You're doing a good job staying off of it, man.
And thank you. You're doing
really good.
And I never had
a good job, Marvin, staying off of that stuff.
Right. I never had a relationship with my son because I've been in prison almost half of my life. You know what I mean? If you want to put it that way. You know what I mean? So he grew up. He's 32 now. But the one thing my son didn't hold against me, he said, Dad, I don't hate you. I don't resent you. But I do know what you went through when it came to those drugs, and I forgive you. And it brought tears to my eyes when he said that.
Yeah. You know, I heard an old saying one time ago, Marvin, that said, you know, sometimes you gotta look. Yes, well, that's a wonderful thing. That's a wonderful son you got there, Marvin.
Yeah.
There's an old saying that says, sometimes you have to lose yourself to find yourself. You know it, Marvin? So, good for you, Marvin.
And one thing I want to ask you, Lee.
We appreciate you, Marvin.
Absolutely. One thing I want to ask you, Lee. Now I'm gonna ask you for your expertise.
Yeah.
Do you think any of these creatures is
Okay.
interdimensional? Lee. Wait a minute, y'all. Lee.
Yes, sir.
Do you think
Yeah, I'm
any
still
of these
here.
creatures are interdimensional?
You mean like the Bigfoot and the
Bigfoot,
Dogman and all
Dogman,
that?
Goatman, yeah.
Well, you know, Marvin, if there's portals out there and they can travel from point A to point B through a portal, then I would say that would be a dimension,
Right.
a dimensional thing. And I've heard that, just different things that I've seen, that we're all connected, like the universe is connected by nodes, like portals type things. So these creatures could be coming from other planets, connected to a portal here on Earth, And science doesn't know everything. They think they know everything, but they don't know everything.
They don't. They don't.
And if they do know everything, they're not sharing it.
And the thing is,
they're not sharing it with us.
Why do they want that? Why don't the Smithsonian want to say that giants existed before? Because y'all got everybody bones that ever recovered these giants. Oh no, we don't have no 9-foot and 12-foot giant bones here. Only 6.
Yeah.
Why would you cover this up when people have uncovered these giant bones 12, 15 feet tall?
They cover it up because the money's too good for the science.
That's what it is. And you know what?
People.
They know it would fuck evolution up. They would have to rewrite all that shit. And that's something they want. That's something they don't want to do.
Yeah.
They don't want to admit that they was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to admit they was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when it comes to these giants though, Lee, do you think they still walk around to the day? Do you think giants still walk around to the day?
I think it's a possibility. Yeah, I think that Kandahar giant that those soldiers talk about, I think that was probably a true story.
Yeah, I believe that's a true story.
I think so too. I think you was telling on one of your shows that he said that giant said he could smell the blood of, was it
Jacob?
Cain or Abel or
Abel, yeah.
Jacob. Blood of Jacob.
Jacob. Yeah.
Yes.
He said I could smell the blood of Jacob on you. And that scared me. When you can smell something, that's something that happened thousands of years ago, I could smell the blood of Jacob on you, and that's scary.
Yeah.
But I believe that they did kill a creature that,
It is, because that's biblical, that ties right into the Bible.
Right, I do believe that they killed something that day.
That's something.
Because
there's people that have I think they did too.
Yeah, I definitely believe they killed something that day though, Lee, and they covered it up.
Are you there, Marvin?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah,
I watched somebody that I know sent a documentary to me, and this documentary is called The Hidden Truth of the Earth or whatever. But this video showed pictures of cities like Amsterdam and the St. Petersburg, Russia, and different things like that. And this video showed how the those buildings, there's like great big, say like the county courthouses, for example, they're all built out of limestone and, real neat looking architecture or whatever. Anyway, the show describes how the ancient people knew how to transmit electricity, and that they built all those buildings. Those buildings were already built before our people got here. and they were covered by what is called a mud flood or whatever. But it's a fascinating documentary. I'm going to put it on my channel, a link to it, and everybody could watch it. But long story short is they said that the people that would have lived in those dwellings or whatever would have been 12 to 15 feet tall, basically giants.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think they call them Tartarians is what they call them, Tartarians or something like that. So I'll put the link up on my channel, and people can go there and look at it. But it's a very good documentary. I really enjoyed watching it. It showed a lot of architecture over in like England and different areas like that. And it said tied in how they could program water to hold electricity, basically.
Don't make no noise. I'm doing live. Turn it down. Yeah, you. I believe that though. I believe that though, Lee. You know,
and the way the guy explained it was that the people, you know, like the science thing, like you're talking about the Smithsonian and this and that, they covered up the giant bones and stuff. That they have covered up this knowledge of free energy for years.
Right, because they don't want
the ancients knew about.
They don't want the public to know that.
And you know,
go ahead.
When you start looking at this video and you start looking at this architecture, it's just like it just blow your mind. You're like, it's better than anything that we have today. I mean, those buildings were better built than anything we have today. Like the skyscrapers and stuff that they build now, they don't even look nowhere near as fancy or as nice. They look like works of art. These buildings look like works of art.
Because I'm waiting for unplugged up both of them. Yeah, you're right though, Lee. It's so many things now. I had a eyewitness said he was walking down the city street. You hear me, Lee? Turn it down. I can hear you. All the way down. Wait a minute, Lee. Turn it down. All the way. All the way. Where you can't hear.
No, you can't hear it.
Yeah, but I had an eyewitness said he was walking down the city street one day. No, more. All the way. I don't want to hear. Yeah, but I heard eyewitness said that he was walking down the city street one day, Lee, and all of a sudden he turned back, and he said he seen this green reptilian creature, you know, pacing him. He said so he just started running, you know, to get out there because he said it messed his head up to be in a city, walking down the city street. So that go to show you they not just in woods.
Yeah, that's right. And you know, what better place to come to town to get in a dumpster and eat the leftover food, like at Papa John's or wherever they could, you know, those fast food restaurants that throw all the food away. I've heard that they'll frequent places like that. Have you ever heard that?
Yeah.
I think these things travel the rivers. I think they travel the rivers a lot, and like the sightings that we see up here, or where I live at, there are deep ravines here, like great, you know, like if you went off in it in a car, you'd be in trouble, you know. I mean, it's just, we got big ravines like that around here, and I think that's where they like to travel. They like to travel in those areas where they can get down in them, and they can't be seen. I went to West Virginia, and I got to talk to a guy one time that he told me a story about, you remember those old cars called a Gremlin? They were kind of the little ugly-looking cars, you know, and him and his people were parked off the side of the road. He showed me the exact area where it was at, and he said, yeah, we was backed in right here, and he said they was sitting talking and smoking a cigarette or something, and he said that they went to take off and in that car, and he said something had come up behind the car and lifted the back end of the car up, and the guy hit the gas, and the car wouldn't go anywhere. And he kept revving it up, trying to get it to go. And he said, whatever this thing was, dropped the rear end of the car, and it took off.
Oh, my granddaughter pulled her teeth out.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Put it out of here, Pella.
Tooth Fairy's be coming tonight.
Yeah, she been trying to pull it out for like 3 weeks now. So I said,
Good
pull it
job.
out. She finally just got guts so that to twist it side to side and pull it out. I said, okay, I'm proud of you. Bye. Yeah, but Lee, it's so much that we don't know out there, and that's why I said it's not no experts when it comes to this cryptid realm. Shut up. Get out. Bye. Or shut up. Sit down.
This was a cute baby too.
Yeah, and I just try to say there's no experts when it comes to this thing, man. You know how some people say, man, they live here, they roam here, they eat here. How do you know? Produce the evidence to show the people, and then I believe it.
Yeah, put the camera on them
Right.
and take some pictures. I talked to a guy, that same guy in West Virginia, that talked about something picked up the rear end of their car, and then it dropped it, and then they finally could leave, you know, but it was holding the rear end of their car up, and he said it was big, whatever it was, and he was telling me another story about a guy that he knew, and this was before, you know, I knew about the dog man or anything, and he described seeing a dog in that area anymore.
But like
he
you
described
said,
it as a jet black. Yeah.
Right, like you said though, Lee, everybody not gonna see them.
No.
You know what I mean? So if you see one, then man, I mean, I say it like this: take it as a blessing that they show themselves to you.
Yeah.
Some people be out this field 40, 50, 60 years and ain't never seen a shadow.
Nope. And that's there again. Why is it that some people see it and some people don't? And you know, you said you have Native American blood in you, Marvin. So, and I have Native American in me too. And I've seen things. So I don't know if that's the, you know,
it might
that's
be
the connection there. I've heard them say that, you know, well, they kind of seek out people that are Native American and have Irish, like Native American and Irish and German, you know, blood or whatever in them, that those people will see stuff like that.
You're absolutely right. Any questions in the chat? Wait a minute.
Are you getting any questions there, Marvin?
Wait a minute. Okay. I got the first question. I want to ask you, Lee, how long you been doing this?
You mean seeing cryptids or seeing things?
Yeah, everything.
Or just, I would have to say the earliest thing that I remember was when I was, like I said, 6 or 7 years old, and that thing come through the wall. And then it was just different things happened to me all the way up until present time. And, you know, I've seen things up to, like, say, I don't know, 4 months ago, I saw the shadow. It looked like the shadow of an Indian run by me and another lady while we was outside. She was trying to, she's a psychic, so she was trying to communicate with Native American spirits that were tied to our land here, and one showed itself, so I did see that. But from the time I was 6 or 7 up till now, to present time, is how long. And I'm 40. I'll be 49 this month. I'm getting old.
Yeah, man, you both.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this, Lee. Do you think the government ever gonna disclose these cryptids to the public?
If they've got anything that they can benefit from knowing about them, and us not knowing, they'll keep it a secret.
And you know what? I
So
agree with you 100%. Because I don't think they're gonna disclose that. Because it's all about
no,
money.
I yeah, I would agree with you. You know, something that disturbs me is the chimera thing. You know, where they're mixing DNA with human and animal DNA. That is so disturbing to me. I just think that that's creepy.
Yeah, you know what? I was thinking about that too. That chimera. What is the chimera?
A chimera is like, you know, say like a griffin. You know what a griffin is? A griffin is like a symbol that they use. It's like a mix between a lion and a eagle. You know what I'm talking about? Like it's like a lion with wings and talons type thing. It's called a griffin. So that would be like a mix of that DNA. And you know, that's kind of weird because, you know, a bird, they kind of categorizes in a reptilian category. And if you look at a cat, like the cat's eye has a slit in it like a reptilian. You know, they have slit eyes. Yeah.
Now, Lee, I ain't never talked about this. It was a channel. I can't think what country it was from, but they had the slit of a cat, but it was the opposite way.
Okay, instead of going up and down, it went vertical.
Vertical. Yes, vertical.
Yeah, instead of vertical, it went horizontal.
Right. Turn the light out.
You know, that's is there any use for junk DNA? Al Santoriga asked. Junk DNA. Maybe what we think of as junk DNA is really not junk DNA. Maybe it's something it's just not abilities that we've just not turned on yet in our DNA. That's what I'm guessing.
Right, and I agree with you. Like you said, though, it's so much that we don't know about these creatures. You know, Melba Ketchum, she did what she had to do. You know what I mean? They just ruined her. They ruined her, man, so bad, and it's sad.
You know, and she's got it too, Marvin. She's got the proof. She's got the proof right there, and that is so disappointing that they did that to her.
Right, it is. Because she brought it forth.
Yes. It's you know, if they want to shut you down, they'll just shut you down in a minute. You know it?
Oh, ain't no question.
You know, that's why I've been hesitant my whole life to mess with these computers and the internet type thing, and to even have a Facebook account, because they can do anything. They can make anything appear any way they want it to appear. And
you're absolutely right.
In any way. So we, you know, here we are out here trying to tell our stories, but tap dancing around a lot of it. You know it?
You're right. You're right, though, Lee. You're absolutely right. You know what I mean? Because no matter however you put it out there, they're going to always find an eyewitness to say, you didn't see what you saw. You saw a coyote. Mm-hmm. No, motherfucker, the coyote don't stand up and walk motherfucking 30 feet.
Mm-hmm. You know, they say there's something with the coyotes and the Bigfoot. I'll tell you, a guy that I worked with in construction, when I was working construction, he'd went to a party somewhere, and he'd slept in his car after the party, and he said it was getting daylight just where you could, you know, make things out and see real good, and there was this heavy fog on, and he said this coyote came and it got right in front of his car, and this coyote started yipping, and it started going in a circle, like, you know how like a dog will go in a circle? It started yipping, and it was going in a circle, and the coyote went on ahead and crossed the road, and he said it was 7-8 foot tall, hairy looking creature, humanoid, like Bigfoot basically is what he said, walked right behind where the coyote was at, and walked right across the road, right into the fog.
Wow.
So there's something, they hang around with each other, or they do something, and you know, I've heard people say, well, the Bigfoot hate coyotes, and the coyotes hate the Bigfoot. Well, nobody knows either way, you know. I mean, a predator is a predator, and if one thing's eating meat and the other one's eating meat, they're gonna kind of hang together, you know.
Right.
It's like dogs eating roadkill, and then the buzzard comes in and eats too, you know.
You're right about that, because we've been seeing a lot of dumb men on the side of the road eating a raccoon or possum.
Yeah. You know, Al Santoriga just asked what do we think the black-eyed kids are. Honestly, I think the black-eyed kids are something tied with extraterrestrials. I couldn't prove it. I can't prove any of that, but I think it's something to do with extraterrestrials, because they show up and they have old clothes on, and they say things in different, weird things. Instead of saying like is it supper time, they'll say is it feeding time, or they talk with a weird dialogue, and it's almost like they're trying to blend in, but they can't. And I think there's something, they're probably a human alien hybrid type thing. That's kind of what my take is on those sightings. And it's almost like they say they have cold black eyes, and it almost kind of like they're soulless or whatever. Like they don't have a soul. So that would be kind of like a created being, I would think, like some kind of a genetically manipulated or, created. I don't know. I don't know what they are, but I think they're weird. How about you, Marvin?
I mean, I agree to say the same thing, though. I don't know what they are. You know what I mean? So that's just like this rake. What the fuck is it? It's pale. It walks around on all fours. What the fuck it really is, and what the fuck is its purpose?
What kind of experiment is it that got loose? That's what I want to know. How about you, Marvin?
Yeah, absolutely, because they won't come and say, yeah, we just let one of these creatures out. You know what I mean? Y'all not going to do that. I think they could, I think mostly they could stay up under the radar for the most part.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about the cattle mutilations, Marvin, and how they have like their tongues cut out, and the udders will be cut out, and they'll have these holes in them that'll be in a perfect circle?
Right. And then
what do you think that is?
And then they only eat certain organs.
Or the blood's missing.
Right. I think it probably had something to do with UFOs, because they said the way this thing was sliced, it was just done with precision.
Mm-hmm.
So like this thing knew what it was doing. You know what I mean? Like it would toy with you, pull back, toy with you, pull back, shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And and they never leave footprints. That's a weird thing about those cattle mutilations. It's like they don't leave any footprints or anything. It's like they're taken and then they're just basically dumped or dropped right out of something back onto the ground.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
I want if it was humans that were doing it, like if humans were doing it, the only conclusion that I could come up with and reason why they would do it, humans would do it, especially out west, is, they set off atomic bombs a long time ago, and a lot of the farms out there, they considered them downwinders, which means that they were downwind of the radioactivity and stuff. So there's a lot of those cattle farms out there in those areas, and I could see where they maybe come in with a helicopter and, pick them up and take off with them. And
right.
And the reason why they would take the tongues and the udders and different things like that, or the genitalia, would be like soft tissues where they could test for radioactivity or, different things like that. But, that story doesn't really add up, because how did they swoop down and snatch a cow? They'd have to be like cowboys from helicopters, roping them. So I don't know. Maybe they got some kind of technology that we don't know about where they can do that. And then, like they talk about how like all the blood is missing out of the cow.
Right.
I've seen videos where they're talking about they could draw blood, you know, like say off of a cow, and then they could grow steak or muscle tissue in a petri dish, basically growing steaks in a petri dish. Maybe the aliens are using the blood for some kind of a food source, or to, you know, if they drain the blood out of a cow, that'd be a lot of DNA that they could use on another planet to make a whole herd of cows, you know. I know it sounds out there, but Skinwalker Ranch. Alice Antoriga asked about Skinwalker Ranch. I think Skinwalker Ranch might be some kind of tied in with UFO act. The Bigelow guy, he had bought that ranch, and they had done research on that ranch, and he's got like a space type thing that they work with, the Bigelow Space Group. I think that's what they were looking at it, so to see if they could figure out some kind of technology that they could use. I think that's what they had that ranch for. Noogie wants to know what the Goat Man is. I'm not sure. Marquetta Jones said it's a portal out there in Skinwalker Ranch. Yeah, I could agree. I'd agree that there could be a portal type deal there. It's interesting. It's an interesting place. I guess it's under new ownership now. I think a real estate guy bought it out there, and they're still doing research on it. Noog the DJ wants to know about Goat Man. I'm not sure about Goat Man, Noog. I think it could be demonic the way they describe it, as being able to hypnotize its victims, or victims. People talk about being hypnotized by it. And
man, do you?
Marquetta, do I?
Do you?
Marquetta, okay.
Get out.
Marquetta Jones, do you think it's a portal at Skinwalker Ranch?
Well, I listened to one of the episodes when Bigelow had it, and he said he seen a 9-foot humanoid creature that opened up, and this creature stepped from behind it.
Wow. And it was a 9-foot humanoid creature?
9-foot humanoid creature.
Wow.
I said the same thing there. I'm like, it was so much stuff going at Skinwalker Ranch. It's like these things jumping on roof to roof just to try to get away.
Richard Reed wanted to know if a 16-foot tall Bigfoot was the biggest one out there.
Oh, that's on you, Richard. How tall?
That's wow, 16 foot.
That's a big boy.
Yeah, that's more than I'd want to handle.
I don't blame you, me neither. I don't want to look up to that.
There's Deepocalypse 22. He asked, "Do you think there are any prehistoric creatures that are still alive?" And I would have to say, they talk about how there was that meteor or whatever impacted the earth and supposedly killed all the dinosaurs, and that's the story that we get and we know. But I say that if there are any prehistoric creatures still out there, that the likelihood of there being them would be in the oceans, because everything that ever was or is still in the ocean, I think. That's just my thoughts on it.
You're right about that.
Because it wouldn't have affected what's in the ocean, especially the fish and the creatures that lived in the ocean. That's why they see those ninja things in the Antarctic or Arctic or whatever. You heard about them? They call them the ninjin. I think they're spelled N-I-N-G-E-N or something like that, or N-E-N-G-E-N. Ninjin.
Yes.
They look like a kind of like a humanoid shaped creature or a dolphin.
Yes.
Things are in the Congo and Antarctica. Nathan Allen. Yes, they
Why they
are.
don't want this thing don't leave? Why they don't want nobody to find out what's on the other side of the Antarctica?
Well, that show that I'm telling you about, the documentary that I watched, said that it's basically a barrier, a wall, and that once that melts, that's why they're pushing the global warming to try to cool everything off, is because they know that this once that barrier is down, that we're going to have access to other continents, that there's other continents on the other side of it.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Had you heard the story, Marvin, of the guy? It was he showed up in Japan and he had a passport, and the authorities were checking out his passport, and his passport was from some country that they didn't recognize. Like it was one that they had never heard of. Holding, till they figured out where he was really from, and he disappeared like without a trace. He disappeared from the cell. Had you ever heard that story?
No, I ain't never heard that with my dad or Lee.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm curious about a lot of this stuff.
Nathan Allen has it. It's the man from Taureg. I think that's the one. Thanks Nathan for putting that out there. Noog the DJ, the flat Earth, baby.
And you know what though?
Yeah.
I believe it is flat Earth.
That documentary I was telling you about, when you see that documentary, it will blow your mind. I'm blown away by it. It's very well put together. It's called The Hidden Truth of Planet Earth.
Wow. Because some people.
Go ahead.
Because some people won't believe that's a flat Earth.
No, I'll tell you what was really neat about that show was this guy had pictures. He had pictures dating way back. They were black and white pictures, and the cities, like if you took a picture of New York City from a skyscraper, you're going to see people in the streets, right? You're going to see people everywhere in New York. Like there's just people running around everywhere. Well, this guy took pictures of Amsterdam, St. Petersburg, he had pictures. He didn't take them, but he had pictures from St. Petersburg, Amsterdam, and all these other, these highly populated cities. And there's nobody in the streets. There's no horse and buggy. There's no nothing. There's nobody occupying these cities. And it's like they took the picture of it because they were in awe of what they saw, And he had one picture that showed people in horse and buggy camping out in tents in front of these massive buildings. And he said, look at how in the video, he shows how there are these dirt roads that go up to these massive structures that are built that you just can't believe. And they're just on mud roads, and then people in horse and buggies going up and down the road. He said there's no way they have the technology to even be able to build those buildings. And everything on them looked machine cut, like precise machine cut. It's a fascinating video when you get to see it. Nook said we can have a werewolf and an ape cat people, but flat Earth is crazy. And that's basically what he says in that documentary, is that we've been basically the controllers have lied to us and told us what they want us to think and to believe. I think it's hollow too. Apocalypse 22. Yeah, why not? Why couldn't the Earth be hollow? It could be. At this point, we've been told all kinds of stuff that we don't know whether it's true or not. Hollow Earth, now that's crazy. Have you heard the recording, Marvin, where they dug I think it was over in Russia, they went down as deep as they've ever been in the earth, and they have a recording of people screaming and hollering and different things down in have you heard that? It's called The Recording from Hell or something like that. It was on Art Bell a long time ago. I bet some people in your chat room have heard it.
Yeah, they know when you did the timber.
Nook heard it. That scared me when I heard it. Sounds of Hell, hosted by Art Bell. Yes.
What the?
Hey Marvin, you want to cut this off and call it a night?
I mean, you know what, we can. We can. I can go and upload this, and I appreciate you everything for coming on, Lee, and man, of course,
right.
when you got time off, man, you know, let me know.
I'd like to say good night to everybody, and I'd like to give a shout out to Marquetta Jones and Nug the DJ and Robert Moore, The Apocalypse 22, and Al Santoriga, and I see Blackwater Media there too. I'll say good night to everybody.
Yeah, now I want to say good night too, Lee, and man, thanks you for coming along. And I'm gonna make sure I keep in contact.
All right, thank you, Marvin, for having me on. I've been fiending to do a show, and I just haven't had the time, and I appreciate you putting me on, man.
Hey, ain't no problem, man. Always, man, and like I said, man, I'm on it, man. I have you on there.
Hey, I'm grateful for you, Marvin. I'm glad that you just have a heck of a show, a nice platform, and I love the Dog Pack family here. I love getting on there and talking to everybody.
Oh,
you guys are just awesome.
Hey, that means a lot, though, Lee. But I'm not gonna hold you up, man. You can go ahead and spend some time with your family, man, and I'll talk to you.
All right, rock on, Marvin. You have a good night, guys.
All right. You too, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Bye. It was a good one that came on, right? You know, Carlito and Tom got shows tonight, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it, upload this, right? Man, as always, man, I'm glad that whoever showed up, I'm glad y'all showed out. Answer questions, y'all said stuff amongst the group. And man, we're a family here, man, at the end of the day. So I'm gonna go ahead and upload this, man, and I'll see y'all on the next live. Good night.